Hey, my name is Robin Tanner. Welcome back to the Daily Fight. This entire week, I am devoting to a pre-recorded series that I did several months ago for clients called the F-Bombs, Fudging Up Your Future Self. And it's basically wrapping around the ideas of 16 hidden secret ways that you might be sabotaging without even knowing it your future self, meaning just your thought process, your perspective on these 16 different avenues in life that might be hindering you from moving forward, from taking action, from getting off the edge of whatever it is that you're on. And I get them because I've been there, done that, got that t-shirt multiple times through all of them, and I still struggle with several of them. And we also cycle through depending on where we're at and on what stage that we're at in our fight. So you can apply these principles and these perspectives, all 16 of them, through any area of your life. Physically, it could be with your health, through the way that you are living, through your job, professionally. It could be in your relationships or socially. It could just be with your relationship with yourself and your attitudes and your ideas. So it's really designed to just help you think differently, open up some walls that you might have up to armor you from stepping forward, because you might be scared, or you might feel guilty about it, or you might feel shame wrapped around whatever it is that you want or you desire or that you want to release and let go of. So I hope this week that you tune in. I'll be breaking it up into 5 parts starting today. So just tune back every single day to catch all of the F-bombs that might be fudging up your future self. I hope you enjoy. All right, we are on a roll. Welcome to your 4th set. This is your bonus. This is your fun finisher. This is the doozy. These are the ones that are a little bit more advanced. So make sure you've got your running list of all of your F-bombs. So far, we've got faith, we've got fear, we've got fortitude, we've got forgiveness. Then we've got your passion and your motivation, which is wrapped up in your fire and your fuel and your focus and your fight. And then we've got your well-being and your self-care, which is your fitness, your inner fitness, your fatigue, your frustration, and your freedom. So let's wrap it up with skill and adaptability. Are you ready? Your frame, your finances, your flexibility, and your failures. All right, I love this first one. This is your frame, your reference, your identity. This shapes your decisions and your choices, what you do and what you don't do, whether you press green or you press stop, or you're sitting in that chair of indecision and you're rocking back and forth in place. Now, I think we have several identities. Call me crazy, but I do think we've got some multiple personalities going on in here and in here. You've got your old self, you've got your current self, you got your future self, you got your inner warrior, that little girl inside of you that's fighting for you. You've got your inner badass. That's what, 5? Which one are you listening to? Which one's leading the charge in the fight for your future self? The cool thing is that they actually all have to work together. You've got to listen to what each one of them is saying. You've got to be able to decipher which identity is leading the pack at this phase in your life, and which one do you want to listen to. And then on top of that, I mentioned it in the last training, sometimes we think we're someone. Sometimes we think we want to be someone, but it's different from who we actually are and who we actually need to be. And that's a whole nother lesson that we dive into in my Badass Boot Camp, my group coaching, and my one-on-one coaching. I can tell you the biggest cost of not being able to have this awareness or knowing how to manage each of these identities that you have, that you've shed, that you're growing into, that you're currently in now, is costing you your future self, is costing you your dreams and your desires and your goal and your peace. This will lead to unfulfilled aspirations. It'll lead to a bunch of undone business, a lot of vacations that you haven't taken yet. This will lead to you being on your deathbed and still wishing you lost 20 pounds because you never learned how to treat yourself and honor your body or love the one that you have. Sometimes the biggest fight of our future self is learning to be okay with where we're at right now and honoring that. But if we're constantly in a state of operating from our past self, or operating from that inner child that's scared and that is fearful, or operating from the badass self that is willing, maybe you're like me, that doesn't have plan Bs, because plan B is to fully execute plan A, and that you are a risk taker. And maybe we need to learn how to dial it up and dial it down so that they're calculated risks, but that you're not over planning without producing, without progressing. We got to learn how to shape and mold these identities and teach them to be a team. And if your identities aren't a team, it's going to be a lot of tangled up Christmas lights And here's what happens. We start to question ourselves because the old you pulls you backwards, and then you wonder why it's not working. The future you is kind of scary, and so you're on edge, right? You're on edge and you're not sure if you're on a breakthrough or a breakdown. And then we don't act. We don't take the jump. Or you've been beat up before because you listened to your inner warrior or your badass and it went sour. And instead of getting to know them and teaching them who's really in charge, which is, believe it or not, your current self, who you are right now, whether you like her or not, whether you think she's showing up the way that she should be, she's in charge. She gets to choose. She gets to choose, should she stay, should she go? Should she stay here? Should she settle? Should she suffer? Or should she strive? Should she put her foot on the gas pedal? Should she go for it? Should she jump? She's in charge of which identity shows up. She's in charge of which F-bombs are gonna help her or hurt her. The next one is your finances. And we're not gonna actually get into finances, but it's your mindset around the finances. It is coming from the scarcity mindset that you'll never have enough, that you need to save, that you need to hoard, that you can't be generous, that you can't tithe, that you can't reinvest back into your business or reinvest into yourself. Do you know one of the misoverlooked ones for our budget is your self-care, is a gym budget, is a personal development budget, is a coaching budget, is a counseling budget, a therapy budget for your mental health, for your physical health, for your spiritual and emotional health, for this inner fitness work right now. That should be in your budget every month. There should be a travel budget. There should be a list of your musts, your needs, your wants, and your loves. I love it. One of my favorite things is Kevin O'Leary is don't buy stupid shit. I have that on a post-it note in my wallet. Don't buy stupid shit. And we invest so often in the things that give us immediate gratification. The new phones, the new technology, the eyelashes, the pedicures, the manicures. I get it. I love me a good pedicure and manicure. We get our hair done. We spend all of this time getting massages. We go to the chiropractor. But the inner fitness work, do we invest in that? Do we invest in the coaching? And this isn't a pitch for coaching, but it should be an investment in yourself if this is something. If you have a dream, if you have a business, if you have a team, if you're responsible for other people, for leading, if you want to be the breadwinner, if you want to make more money, if you want to have financial freedom, that you actually use that money and you don't hoard it and you don't stock it away for when it's a better time, when you have more, when there's more time, when you're less stressed, or when you're in better shape. Often we delay and put off the things that we think are driven by money, but they're not. They're driven by fear. They're driven by that control. They're driven because you're not there yet, and you'll never get there if you don't start stepping and investing. If you see something of value that you want, the money shows up. If the trip is really important, you'll take the trip. You'll make it happen. You'll create the money. You'll spend it. But oftentimes we're using money the wrong ways. We're using it to hide, to cope, to go spending because we get that immediate dopamine hit. We get all of the things to make our outside appearance look better and feel better. But how long does that last? Whereas if you're investing those things into your future self, into the dream home or the dream property or to the business, or back into you and developing you and your skill set and your future self. One of my favorite coaching questions is, will this help you or will this hurt you? Will this help my future self? Will this get me what? Will this investment, will this chunk of change give me the memories, the moments, the experiences, the adventures, the passion? Is that what I'm looking for? Will it teach me how to do things better? Will it teach me in my business how to exit, how to create more boundaries and standards, how to hire more team? So that I can do more of the things that I'm awesome at and badass at, so that I can defer and delegate, so that I can step back and start spending more time with my family or more time with myself. Or maybe it's starting a brand new business and that requires money, that requires investment. And guess which F-bomb that requires? Faith and fortitude and a lot of focus and a lot of inner fitness work. Again, you see how they're all intertwined, but so often I don't have the money, or you got to go ask permission. And I'm not trying to beat you up here about it, but how are you letting that hold you back? What are you spending your money on, and is it contributing to your future self, to that legacy, to that life that you're trying to build, to the things that really matter most to you? Are they silly, or they're in Kevin O'Leary, are they stupid things? Are they really going to matter? Because some of us have a problem with material items. And when I went homeless for my dream, and when I lived in my gym for 6 months with my kids, I can tell you really quickly, material items don't matter to me. I don't want to hoard. I don't want to stock up. It actually is a trigger for me because I can go without. I don't want to go without, but I can. And I learned really fast that those things don't fill you up and they just leave you more empty and your bank account empty. Which leads me to my next one, flexibility. This F-bomb without flexibility will drain you, will leave you empty, and will also leave you pretty alone and isolated. Black and white mentality, life and death. Been there, done that one, and I'm really working on it. My way or the highway. I think I talked about it earlier in a couple sets ago, having that noose, right, around your neck, trying to control every situation because you want it to happen your way and on your time and on your terms. In order to get to your future self, you've got to be flexible. You have to be able to navigate life's challenges and the battles. You have to be willing to roll with the punches, so to speak. You got to be willing to walk through the waves. You got to be flexible. You got to go with it. Because if you're rigid and if you're that robot self that is looking for perfection or waiting for it to be perfect and you're not showing up ugly, you're going to be waiting a really long time. So I'm going to challenge you. Is there anywhere in your life where you need more flexibility? Because if you're not, you're going to be seen as somebody that's not safe psychologically, that it's not safe to communicate with you. And there might be relationships in your life that are shutting down because you're not flexible, because it's my way or the highway, that you're not going to seem approachable, that you're not going to be open to new ideas or have vulnerability to receiving feedback instead of always taking it as criticism, or that they're beating you up, when really there's a lesson in listening to the areas of your life where you're not being flexible. So is there somewhere where you're trying to hold on, somewhere where you're struggling and you think it is A or B and it's that simple, but it's not that simple because we were all raised differently with different environments and different dreams and different goals and different mindsets and different mentalities, and everybody's got their own F-bombs. And when we get two together that don't match up and that don't understand each other and aren't communicating with each other, you can imagine the fight and the battle and the resistance, especially when you're supposed to be on the same team and you're supposed to be fighting for the same fight. I'll leave you with this one before we move on to the final F-bomb. I think inflexibility is just another hidden fear of you not getting yours, of being left behind. And I think you're trying to control it. I think we all try to control it. But again, remember, the minute that you relinquish control is the moment that you take it all back. All right, let's wrap this up. Failures is your last F-bomb, your failures. Now, so many people say they're scared of failing, but this is another big fat lie. Failure is how we learn. Failure is growth. Failure is developing. Failure is figuring out what's working and what's not working. Do you know what the cost of failure is? The cost of failure is success. The cost of failure is arriving at your future self. The cost of failure is financial freedom. The cost of failure is internal and external freedom. The cost of failure is figuring out that inner fitness so that you thrive and you condition and you train all of those muscles that we've been talking about this entire series. Nobody goes out on their first try and gets it right. We only hear about the overnight successes. We only know about the celebrity after they're a celebrity. We didn't hear about the laundry list of rejections. Overnight success is the compilation of failure after failure after failure, of never giving up, of having resolve, of being flexible, and using that fortitude to fight for the thing that matters most to you. Now, remember at the beginning of this, I told you to write down the thing that mattered to you, the battle that you're in, the struggle, or the thing, the dream, the desire, the goal, something that you want to happen. Maybe it's a little thing. Maybe it's a big thing. Maybe it's a major life transformation. It's a complete overhaul. It doesn't really matter. This future self framework will help you. But you've got to be willing to accept that it comes with failures. You will not get there without failure. So don't let failure be the thing that holds you back. This is the essence of building your future self, of creating her, of finding her, of uncaging her, of becoming her. Don't get me wrong. I don't want you going around there and being lazy and sloppy and failing left and right. I don't like lazy. I don't like sloppy. How you do one thing is how you do everything. I want you to put in your effort. I want you to up and amplify your intensity. I want you to dig a little deeper. I want you to answer the questions. I want you to review. I want you to apply. I want you to invest. I want your future self to matter to you. This is my mission, to forge you, to fight for your future self, to do the damn thing. To be you, to be truly you, so that you have integrity with yourself, that you keep your promises, that you have the body you want, the energy you want, the attitude that you want, that you have the life that you want, that you have the adventure and the passion and the aliveness and the spontaneity, that you have the integrity, that you have the connection and the intimacy with the people that matter most to you, that you're filling your days and your time with events and memories and moments that matter to you, that develop you, that free you. And that comes with failure. It's the price of those things. And if you're not willing to pay that price, then you have to be okay with where you're at now. You have to be okay with standing still. You have to be okay with life as is. If nothing else changes, are you okay with that? If this is how your last day, as morbid as it sounds, are you okay with that? If you never take the trip, if you never do the bucket list, if you never see the things, are you okay with that? Are you okay with working until the last hour, until your last breath? Are you okay with being alone? Are you okay with being angry and holding grudges? Because that's going to take failures in order to get there, in order to learn how to communicate effectively for your future self, in order to speak up and fearlessly express what you want. That's going to require failure. That's going to require a little bit of risk and courage to step up and vocalize what it is that you really want, to honk your car horn, to say no more cutting in line, that this is my life and I'm choosing to fight for it. That's going to require failure. Your setbacks, your disappointment, your letdowns, your discouragement, these inner demons that we have, your doubt, your disbelief, these inner demons, they can be really loud, and I get it. But don't let them win. Use them every time. It's one step forward, one step into a flow state that allows you to continue fighting at your pace for the things that matter most to you. Otherwise, you're fighting the inner demons. You're fighting with doubt and discouragement and disappointment. And then you're denying yourself the life that is meant for you and only you. You're denying it to your legacy, to your children, to your grandchildren. You're denying it to the team that you're building, to the possibility of your business. Imagine, remember that this is bigger than you. And I know that might be hard to grasp for some of you, but it's bigger than you. You matter to somebody else out there. You matter to your kids. You matter to the people that you show up for in your community. You matter to your family, your loved ones. You matter. You matter to a stranger out there that's waiting for you to write the book, to say the thing, to speak up, to do the job, to paint the artwork. Whatever it might be for you. It matters that you take the trip, that you create the experience. But allowing failure to hold you back keeps you average. It prevents you from becoming who you're meant to be. It leaves you mediocre. Nobody wants to be mediocre. Nobody wants to be average. We're not looking for a 3-star future self here. And I get it. Because failures remind us. They leave these little remnants, these little pieces of what you didn't do, how you screwed up, how you looked silly, how you felt stupid, what embarrassed you, what you're ashamed of. I get it. And that fear, guilt, shame, all of those things, those become your inner demons. And they hide in all of these F-bombs. But failure really is putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together. Let them be reminders of how resilient you are. Let them be reminders that you're relentless. Let them be reminders that you are willing to rise up again and again and again, no matter how many times it takes, for your future self, for the thing that you're fighting for the thing that you want to achieve, for the thing that you want to experience and hold in your hands, for the ways that you want to feel, for the ways you want others to feel. Let your failures build that up better, make it better, mold it better, create it better. It goes back to living with the not knowing what it's like to breathe the air in Australia and hold the koala bear. Okay, so that's one of mine. But not knowing has got to be worse than the pain of your failures and any of the other F-bombs that I've been talking about. And as much as I would love to put my fairy dust on you and tell you that the magic wand has been waved and you are healed and you are on your way and your future self is waiting for you, she's knocking at the door, all you got to do is open it. It's got to take some digging. Because we don't start here. We really start digging. We got to dig. We got to dig first. Now you've got some good awareness with the F-bombs and hopefully some new perspective so that you're thinking differently through your failures how your finances are playing a role in your future self. If you actually have the ability to act on your future self, but you're not, because you're holding on to a version that used to be but isn't anymore. Or maybe it's the rigidness of you trying to control because you're afraid you're not going to get yours. And so you're not flexible and you're not willing to adapt or be challenged and take feedback and learn and grow from that. And then the frame of mind. Which identity is operating your life? These are major F-bombs in your life that can set you up for your future self right now, that you can begin to experience it now. If you keep these in the forefront of your decisions and your choices, of your mistakes moving forward. So I hope these final 4 F-bombs hit home today. Make sure you download your last one-page worksheet and do the inner fitness work. Don't drop the ball here. Keep going. And do the inner fitness work. Don't drop the ball here. Keep going. You're just beginning. And then I want you to go to one more video, and I'm going to wrap it up and conclude everything as a whole. I'll see you in the next one.